the unlikely states. Many parties also lost in their strongholds. However, many political analysts are of the opinion that this weekend's polls may not necessarily follow the patterns that emerged on February 25th. It is expected that local issues and personalities, not necessarily party affiliations, will determine the race in several states. Of particular interest will be what will happen in Saudi states as well as Lagos, major battleground states, where the regional consensus, for example, in the Saudi states, to back Obi's presidential bid cost upset all calculations. Now, many parties and individuals are fighting for their political lives. For example, governors in Abia, Enugu, and Ebonyi will be anxious to retain their grip and install their successors. All of this makes for a potentially tense and unpredictable contest across that zone. It remains to be seen what bandwagon effect the triumph of the APC candidates, President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the presidential election will have on the gubernatorial contest, and where that will be given that politicians are look to find themselves in out of alignment with the power at the center. We'll be listening to some of our reporters who are covering from some of the states. I'll be tuning into one of our reporters who is actually covering the Boeing states. Sunday Lom, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, good afternoon. My name is Sunday Lom. And
you can give us updates on what is happening at this time with regards to the elections in Ebonyi states.
Yes, Ebonyi State is also a kind of somehow how do I say kind of high tension. There is kind of a little bit high tension in Ebonyi State because from the beginning, right from the time of presidential governorship primaries, there were issues. First of all, from APC, the APC governorship candidate in the state is to an extent said to be imposed by the incumbent governor, who kind of handpicked him to succeed him, and that is the former speaker of this, I think he's still the speaker of the state, Francis Mwifu, from Izzi, actually. But then the people of Izzi, to a large extent, didn't want him. There is another person that wanted, but then the person is a PDP member, and the PDP didn't give the person tickets, and actually he defected to Labour Party. But then, by the time he joined the Labour Party, Edon Ipogo, who has been coming out on the platform of the Labour Party, already had the ticket. But then, another person playing a strong force in Ebonyi is the APGA governorship candidate, Professor Bernard Odo, who has been attacked several times. Some of his men killed. But then, a few weeks ago, I think last week, I don't know what happened, they didn't give explanation. Labour Party all of a sudden gave their tickets to the same
Hello, I think we lost your audio here. Hello, can you still hear us? Okay, we kind of lost your audio at this point in time. Let's go to Enugu State. I think we'll get back to you, Hello. Raphael. Hello, Raphael, can you hear me? All right, Raphael. Enugu State. At this point in time, we got to the March 18th Gubernatorial State Assembly election.
name is Malaki Ugumadu. I'm a lawyer. I'm also the immediate national president of the Committee for Defense of CDHR. Well, essentially, it is gratifying to note that Nigeria is still on course in our democratization experience, in the sense that for over 2 decades now, we have practiced civil rule, which is considering where we are coming from, with the persistent and intermittent interference of the military in the body polity of Nigeria. To that extent, that they have managed to wreck milestone. Having said that, it is regrettable that we experienced, that we witnessed, with respect to February 25th presidential and National Assembly elections in Nigeria. Now, that disappointment is anchored on the hope, against the hope and expectation, particularly the assurances that the election management body, albeit Independent National Electoral Commission, under Professor Mahmoud, gave to the Nigerian people in no mistaken terms. It was clear they didn't. They came long in terms of assurances, but we saw, regrettably, what characterized that election, from issues of late arrival of election materials, which of course underscored the humongous logistic problem, that perennial problem of logistics. You will recall that it has played out at every major election, whether main or off-season election. We also saw technological glitches, as though we didn't have a full grasp, control, and expertise in leveraging on technology, which has largely redefined the whole process. At the point where we needed it most, which was to effectively transmit the results of the election from the polling units to the INEC RF portal. It became a challenge. The curiosity was heightened when the results for the National Assembly members were not as problematic in terms of transmission as agreed or provided by the INEC guidelines. That became a source of worry, in the sense that, supposing that paid off and it worked as planned, at least to the extent of the assurances that were given, we would have recorded serious milestones in the consolidation of our efforts. It appears to that whereas we had seen the way, we were unable to travel the route. We were unable to travel that way. So that was a sore point. Another area of concern, of course, was the heavy incidents of violence, and it was across board. You will recall that which captures the whole case about violence in that election was the young woman, the middle-aged woman who was stabbed in the face. But it also explains the resilience of the Nigerian people this time, particularly the youth, to own their country, to retrieve and recover Nigeria from the decadent political elites. And how did it play out? The same woman who was seriously stabbed in the face, almost lost her eye, merely went for first aid and came back to the polling center. I mean, I salute her courage, I salute her resilience, I salute her for being part of the history of our. But that is not to say that there are no, because I'm asked to evaluate my take. What's my take? How do I evaluate that election? To a very large extent, that election also made very loud statements along the lines of the possibility that abound, in our people to actually get it right. Election in which it became clear that you can only rely on money bags. Money played a role, but if you just oppose that with the cases of loss, election defeats in strategic places involving local leaders, you will see that the money did not quite pay off. It wasn't so much dependent on how deep. Recall that so many governors that identified the Senate in particular or retirement home gallantly, fair and square. And we can mention so many, including some of the G5 governors from Enugu State to some Benue State, or Plateau State, and it all very, very relatively. That was a plus. That happened. People gave credit to that election, considering that if it were manipulation in which money played all the role, you hardly would have kind of situation. This whole story about godfatherism and influence and power capture, in which very many people were seen, recognized as power blocks, so to speak, of evaporated. I mean, if you consider the fact that a political party that has never won an election rode on the crest of the popularity of the BDM movement, as they call it, and defeated dominant political forces, stronghold like Lagos. Mattered, certainly not, but it's introduced into a dimension, a narrative that can effectively redesign our polity if we stay at it and do the best that we can to case will be, people showed the influence they can wield and resolve to be counted. It was difficult to discountenance the influence that congregated in a way that made them literally indispensable. And I think that is another good news, a quick takeaway that can be looked into as we advance our efforts in this direction. The whole myth around the catchword structure, party structure, political structure, they melted, evaporated, just succumbed under the weight of the renaissance, as I call it, that we witnessed in this election. So it does appear and became apparent, very clear, that the structure really are not those ephemeral and if you like, contrived political arrangements. The structure really lies in the people of this country. In short, what became the most facilitator of structures was the hunger,
Welcome back, viewers, to Nigeria's 2023 Gubernatorial State Assembly election update on Sahara TV. We're still reaching out to reporters, citizen reporters who are reporting from different states of the Federation. I'm still on with Sunday Elam, who's actually reporting from Ebonyi State. Elam, can you give us an update and highlight of the gubernatorial preparations in Ebonyi State? What's been happening with regards to citizens exercising their franchise? Do we have voters of parties? Are people still going to be willing to go to the poll despite the disappointment they had on the INEX process?
Okay, thank you so much. Ebonyi has been kind of been tension in Ebonyi, but as we speak, I think the major forces in the governorship election in Ebonyi, particularly, is the APC, whose candidate is the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Francis Nwifuru, who many of the residents of the states complained from the beginning that he was imposed on them, that they didn't really want him. But then the said Nwifuru is the incumbent governor's S2. And so he has the strong hand supporting him. And then we have the Apuga governorship candidate, Professor Bernard Odo from Afikpo, who has also been pulling weight in the state. Odo had also contested under the same Apuga, and he is actually pulling weight now. Then we have PDP one Odi, who recently, a few days ago, Supreme Court finally ruled in his favor that he remains the PDP's governorship candidate in the state. But then, even though Ebonyi was PDP state before the incumbent governor defected to the APC, the weight of the PDP in the state is not really strong at the moment. Then the Labour Party actually, whatever happened within them is what we don't know. Their flag bearer was the person that had always come out as their governorship candidate, Edon Nkwego. But then a few weeks ago, I think last week, all of a sudden they shifted their ticket to one engineer Fidelis Wanko, who was contesting under PDP, but was not given the ticket before he defected to the Labour Party. So as it is now, the strong voice particularly in terms of the governorship election in Ebonyi State. A strong voice that is really pulling weight is the APC, in withdrawal of APC, with the backing of the governor and the All Progressive Congress candidate, Professor Bernard Odo.
Now, Elam, could you tell us just briefly, what's the reaction like from the citizens across the state with regards to the process itself? Do we have voters apathy being experienced? Will people be turning out to vote, exercise their franchise on that very day?
Yes, to a very large extent. In general, I think what even increased voters' cooperation was a little bit the force of Obi in the state, which transcended to the rural areas where people didn't, initially people don't really come out because one thing is that there is one thing that was peculiar in rural places in Ebonyi, particularly some parts of Izi, some part of Ezan, some other places, that there were always violence, killings, and attacks. But I think during the presidential election, there was not much record of that because many actually tilted towards voting for Obi. But then, for now, in this governorship aspect, many from reactions, many don't actually like the governorship candidate being presented by the governor because from the governor's own record, many also don't really like him again. Of course, I don't know, because of his approach or whatsoever, because they actually many liked him when he was in PDP, and many believed he was actually doing an inclusive governance. But then all of a sudden, certain diversions here and there, certain crises, Ebonyi has always been, recording a lot of communal clashes, a lot of tribal clashes. Many times there are different diverse unconfirmed claims and counterclaims from different tribes. So as it is now, many are not really rooting for the APC governorship candidate. But then, being the party in power in the state, we can't really also take that away from what may be the reality.
Thank you so much, Elon. We will continue to reach back to you with regards to developments in the states. We'll be going also to Enugu State at this point in time. I have Ede Raphael, who's reporting for us from Enugu State. Raphael, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, the presenters.
We know that each state has its own peculiarity and voting patterns. What's that can shape the outcome of the poll? What's been happening in Enugu at this point in time?
In Enugu, we have a 4-race governorship race, 4-horse race. One, they are Edoga Chijoke of Labour Party, Peter Mba of People's Democratic Party, then Uchenna Nnaji of All Progressive Congress, APC, and the Frank Nweke Jr. of All Progressive Grand Alliance. Among the 4 candidates, we can say that 3 are major contenders. I said so because there are a lot of diverse opinions here. One, Nweke has some sympathy of obedience that had made some wave in the southeast, because Nweke also supported Peter Obi, and he showed his total support during the presidential election for Peter Obi. So some obedient movements supported him. About few days ago, Aisha Yusuf, endorsed him, and is one of the loudest voices in obedient movement. So, but 2 days ago, Kennedy from Labour Obedience endorsed the PDP candidate Peter Mba. So, but from all indication, the pendulum is tilting towards the Labour Party candidate. There is a lot of factors that are going to play in his favor. One, the governorship tickets, governorship in this dispensation, this coming dispensation, is zoned to Enugu East Senatorial Zone. And in this, when you come to Enugu East Senatorial Zone, then we have two main dominant areas. Then Nkano, the Nkanos, and part of Nsukka, and Nsukka Woods Cultural Zone that was created out of Nsukka to join to make up the Nkano Enugu East Senatorial Zone. And that is the Hamufu issues of local government. These issues of local government have been so marginalized in Enugu State. We had two governors from Nkano, Enugu East, and all of them came from Nkano land. And in Enugu East, Isuzo was not part of the equation. The Chimaroke, that's the governor that ruled between 1999 and 2007, came from Abani in Nkano West local government in Enugu East Senatorial Zone. Then after that, he went to Senate. He represented the same Nkano Enugu East Senatorial Zone. Then after that, there is another person that is Gilbert Energy, who also was in 2003 at the national 2003, between 2003 and 2007, he was in the House of Rep representing Enugu East and Isuzo. Enugu East, that is Enugu East Federal Constituency. But what played out thereafter is that because of when Sullivan Chime became governor in 2007, between 2007 and 2015, 14-15, so Chimaroke was deminified, and now the senatorial ticket was given to Gilbert Energy. And Gilbert Energy, because of that influence of the incumbency of the present governor then, that is Sullivan Chime, immediately Chimaroke Enaman, despite his clout and his political hegemony called Ebano Group, he deminified him, and Energy got the tickets and won the election through the help of Isuzo, that is marginalized, so to say, because when Chimaroke was in power as governor, he refused to do any project in Hamufu. And this is a dominant area.
All right, Raphael,
so
sorry,
I'm just giving
our time is almost
maybe
running off because we still have other states we really need to get across to. Could you tell us in brief, you have about 1 minute to do this, what are the major top priority issues that are concerning voters, especially in Enugu State?
One, Enugu people want a total change. That is from the feelers on the street. You can hear them loud and clear that they don't want political hegemony of Ebano Group, because you could remember that on February 22nd, that the senatorial candidate of Labour Party was assassinated, and that there was some rumors that some political party, some officials of some political party were behind it. And because of that, a lot of people in Enugu State, had this fear that if PDP is allowed to come back, then the era of 2003, 2007, when killings were rampant in Enugu, will be reincarnated. So people want a change. In short, 2 weeks ago, all
right. So what you're saying in a nutshell, there, Raphael, that Enugu residents actually want change. We will get back to you with regards to more updates as we get up towards that elections. We were going back to the north at this point in time. We have Padio Finehas online also, who is getting ready to give us a report from Adamawa State. Padio, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. The atmosphere is charged already in Adamawa. We have three notable contestants for the office of the governor. However, the context actually is between two candidates, and that is the incumbent governor, Amadou Umaru Fintri, PDP, and the Senator Aishatu Tahiru Ahmed Binani of the APC. These are the two, perceived, real contestants to the office, the governor. And as it is, yes, like I said earlier, the atmosphere is charged. The two contestants have real large support base, and then they are rounding up their campaigns for today. But there are issues, each of these candidates, is facing currently. For example, the APC candidate has issues with members of her own political parties. It is common knowledge around here that Malam Nuhuri Badu, who is one of the closest allies to the president-elect, Ebola Ahmed Tinubu, is not supporting her. We also told that the wife of the president, the first lady of the country, who comes from here also, is at loggerhead, with the APC governorship candidate. And then they've already, kickstarted a machinery to work against her within the APC. And then the governor also, in his northern zone of the state, he has issues because Senator Cliff Elisha Abo, who happens to come from that zone, is fiercely fighting the governor. In fact, he defeated the governor's PDP senatorial candidate for that zone, and he has openly bragged around here that he was waiting, for the governor to defeat him come Saturday. So these are the issues. As regards the electorate, yes, I can tell you for sure that the atmosphere is charged. Both candidates have, the electorates behind both candidates are eager to face the election. We envisage to see larger turnout more than that of the governor, because part of the issues the governor is also facing, the incumbent governor is facing, have to do with elements within Atiku Abubakar's, camp that are believed not to be working for the governor. In fact, because of that, the former vice president flew into the city yesterday afternoon and to boost the support base for the governor. He clearly, mobilized and spoke very wonderful of the governor and urged electorates to go out and vote for him. Yet we expect that there will still be problems within Atiku's camp. And so electorates are charged, they are prepared to come out to vote on Saturday, more so that there's a lot of feelings in the heart of the Atiku Abubakar, they vote from this part of the country, eventually declared, and people feel, okay, we will have to give it a last trial again to see, what the outcome will be. Despite the disappointment they have in their hearts regarding its failure to the point, the beavers for accreditation and elections in the National Assembly election.
All right, Fadio. Thank you so much for the updates that you've given in regards to the election updates in Adamawa State. We will still be getting back to you as far as the progress is concerned. We'll be going on a short break at the moment, and we will still return with more updates from various states in regards to preparations ahead of the gubernatorial elections coming up on March 18, Saturday, March 18, 2023. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
My name is Malaki Ugumadu. I'm a lawyer. I'm also the immediate national president of the Committee for Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. Well, essentially, it is gratifying to note that Nigeria is still on course in our democratization experience, in the sense that for over 2 decades now, we have practiced civil rule, which is a big deal considering where we are coming from with the persistent and intermittent interference of the military in the body polity of Nigeria. To that extent, it's commendable that Nigeria has managed to record that milestone. Having said that, it is regrettable that we experienced all that we witnessed with respect to the February 25th presidential and National Assembly elections in Nigeria. Now, that disappointment is anchored on the hope, against the hope and expectation, particularly the assurances that the election management body, albeit Independent National Electoral Commission, under Professor Mahmoud, gave to the Nigerian people in no mistaken terms. It was clear they didn't suffer any ambivalence. They came long in terms of assurances, but we saw regret what characterized that election, from issues of late arrival of election materials, which of course underscored the humongous logistic problem, that perennial problem of logistics. You would recall that it has played out at every major election, whether main or off-season election. We also saw technological glitches, as though we didn't have a full grasp and control and expertise in leveraging on technology, which has largely redefined the whole process. At the point where we needed it most, which was to effectively transmit the results of the election from the polling units to the INEC RF portal. It became a challenge. The curiosity was heightened when the results for the National Assembly members were not as problematic in terms of transmission as agreed or provided by the INEC guidelines. That became a source of worry, in the sense that supposing that paid off, and it worked as planned, at least to the extent of the assurances that were given, we would have recorded serious milestones in the consolidation of our efforts. It appears to so many people that whereas we had seen the way, we were unable to travel the route. We were unable to travel that way. So that was a sore point. Another area of concern, of course, was the heavy incidents of violence.
Welcome back to viewers around the world to this 2023 Nigeria's Gubernatorial State Assembly selection update from Sahara TV. We're still asking callers to please call in at this point in time to give updates of their readiness in how to exercise their franchise as far as the elections concerned. Gubernatorial State Assembly selections come March 18 this Saturday. We have a caller on the line all the way from Kwara. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Koba.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Abdulasi Lukawa. I'm calling from Kwara.
Alright, so tell us what's been happening at your end.
How do you say, sir?
Can you tell us what's been happening at your end? Are voters prepared for the elections?
Yes, the electorate are ready. They are ready to go out or go and cast the vote again on Saturday, as they did three weeks ago. And regarding the distribution of sensitive and non-sensitive materials, I heard that the INEC will start that today at the CBN in Lorin. So the Kwara State is not, there's no any tension here in Kwara. Everything seems peaceful, and just that in what is happening, what we have been witnessing lately, the last 2 or 3 days, is that some stakeholders of the opposition are moving, they are tapping back to the ruling APC. Like, for example, one of the the former Senate President Kola Saraki anointed candidate, House of Representatives, the man named Abdul Wahab Issa, who contested for Ilorin South and Ilorin East House of Representatives seat during the February 25th election. The man has resigned his membership, PDP membership, and has decamped into the ruling party. So the same thing is happening in Labour Party as well. Labour Party, the chairman, we reported 2 days ago that they have suspended the party gubernatorial candidate. So because for over alleged anti-party activities. But the man yesterday, on the suspension, he said the party chairman is working secretly with the incumbent governor to ensure his re-election. So I can say out of the 15 candidates that are contesting for the election in Kwara, I can say we have only 3 front runners: the incumbent governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, and the PDP flag barrier, Zaid Yaman Abdullah, and CSDP candidate, that is Akim Lawal.
Could you also tell us what's exactly is on the mind of voters as they make up their minds with regards to the process?
So what I think, what the people are, I can say, like I already explained, the system here in Kwara State is that most of people who are being influenced by the political actors, and most of the political actors are now queuing behind the back of the incumbent governor. So I think that may influence the result of the election on Saturday.
All right, Oloko, thank you so much for giving us this update. We'll still be getting back to you in regards to what's unfolding as far as the state is concerned from Kwara. Oloko calling all the way from Kwara. Thank you so much for reaching out. We'll still encourage viewers to please call in if they can. The phone line to call is still the studio line, +234 070499414113. If you're calling from outside Nigeria, you can just add +234 to that line. We have another caller at this point in time. Hello. All right, I think we lost that call. We're also getting updates from citizen reporters across the country on their preparedness for the elections, what voters are actually talking about, what's on the mind of voters with regards to Saturday's election, the state's elections and the National Assembly, State Assembly elections. So what's on the mind of you voters and electorates? You can join the conversation, call the studio line on 070499414113. If you're calling from outside Nigeria, just add +234 before the number. Do we have another caller here on the line? Hello. Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you.
Leah, tell us, what's the update from your end?
All right. From the Federal Capital Territory here, even though there are no governorship and state house of assembly elections coming up here, but the situation generally from the contiguous states, Nasarawa, Niger, and Kogi states, we expect from the monitoring that there will be more voters turnout. Voters turnout will be larger, knowing that the candidates are now more at the grassroots level, so there will be more mobilization. There have been several activities around states, around the FCT here. Then we also expect that the bimodal voters accreditation system machines, BVAS, will work seamlessly after the process of reconfiguration by INEC, because that was a major challenge in the last elections, as we all know. So, of course, people are expecting now that BVAS will no longer be a challenge after INEC announced that it had carried out a reconfiguration and that the redeployment to various states had already started. We did reports around that yesterday and 2 days ago. Then it's also expected, people are looking out also that the results will be on the online portal in real time now. There will be no manual collation, which could bring up suspicion of manipulation and rigging. So on Saturday, people around there believe that yes, the INEC portal should be available, should be up in real time, and that results should be uploaded. Whether INEC will be able to give us that is still yet to be seen, but these are expectations of people generally. Then we know that there are also flashpoint states. We have been doing reports from Lagos, from Rivers, from Ogun State, even from Kogi here. The build-up of violence, arrest of political thugs, recovery of arms, and issues around violence generally. So we expect that, fine, the security agencies will be more alert, will be more professional to douse the tension in these flashpoint states. Because we have as far up as Zamfara, where the ruling party and the opposition parties are having lots of issues with themselves as regards security. The accusations and counter accusations of this one is bringing in political talks, this one has armed talks and all of that. So we believe that people expect that fine, there should be more stable security situation on Saturday. Then finally, I think that generally people are looking forward to a process which will be more free and fair, so that we can minimize election litigations, will not overburden the tribunals with this one didn't win, contentious election results. We don't have to go to court or tribunals if the process is fair enough for everyone. So these are generally, it's expected that INEC will be able to deliver more on its promise. Going by the way it was widely seen that it disappointed lots of Nigerians by not being true to its word, to its own guidelines of sticking strictly to beavers and of putting results on IREF portal. So now the onus is on INEC to justify the trust, the remaining trust that Nigerians have in them, and to give us a better election come Saturday.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for calling in. We appreciate that. That's much that we'll be able to take as far as this coverage is concerned. We'll continue to give you updates and highlights as regards preparation towards the election. The election is on Saturday. We ask you to join Sahara TV as we go live on that day. We represent the election updates and whatever will be happening on that day from the field. Our reporters across the Federation will be calling in and will be sending us up to the minutes and the reports of happenings in their respective states. The questions still remain. What will decide the 2023 elections in various states of the Federation? And what will Nigerians be talking about in the days and weeks to come? These are the concerns that most Nigerians will be having ahead of the Gubernatorial State Assemblies elections come Saturday. We look forward to having you join our live program and live coverage of that event. That'll be all, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Days and weeks to come. These are the concerns that most Nigerians will be having ahead of the